Hi everyone, Chris from Divine Key, spelled QI, with your Wednesday workout. So I'm a little bit early. I thought I'd jump in. Um, Welcome. I'm just seeing what Facebook is doing as I'm still learning how to stream to Facebook. So checking, making sure everything's on. Um, let's see, making sure I can see all the comments. And welcome everybody. It is a couple minutes before 10. I'll start at 10 o'clock. Um, this is a work in progress. Chris, if you haven't met me before, welcome to my channel. You can check me out on YouTube as well. I haven't posted there recently. That'll be coming soon. Welcome to Workout Wednesdays. And today we are going to be talking about the full moon that happened yesterday. It was full yesterday, but the energy carries over for a day or so. I always like to look at it like a 3-day window when it comes to any kind of luminaries, energy, planets, or more exact, but the moon's energy goes from like the day before through this day of the event and then about a day after. So I feel we're still in the full moon energy here. I'm just going to give it another minute. And if you're just joining me, welcome to Divine Key, spelled QI. And I'm Chris. And I know you're probably wondering if you see this video in replay, the image is of a bridge in the wintertime. And so you're probably wondering, well, this is the strawberry moon, so why are you showing a picture of a bridge? Well, I like to call it the bridge moon. So that's where we're going to be headed. And I just want to welcome everybody. And if you haven't checked out my site, go ahead and when you get a chance, be posting a few more things out there. Drop in and see me if you want. Um, so, as we get going into this, we're going to start with a quick meditation. It's 10 o'clock, and these live videos that I do on Wednesday are pretty quick, so I try to notify you ahead of time so that you can be here at 10 o'clock. I'm not going to go very far beyond 10 o'clock before I actually start the event. And hopefully, as the weeks go on, it becomes a regular thing. So, we're going to start with a quick meditation. So, if you're just joining us, just join right in. Be comfortable, just find a good seat any way that you'd like, laying down if you want, doesn't matter to me. And let's just take a few deep breaths. So let your gaze drop a little bit so that you're not distracted, and we're just going to do a few deep breaths to ground us. So a breath in and a breath out. Breath in. And as you breathe out, feel yourself sink into the energy of the earth from your elbows, from your seat, from your feet. Just sink right into the grounding energy. One more breath in and out. Sink down into it. And you're all settled and grounded. Now let's get going. So today's workout, we're going to talk about. It's going to be tied into the full moon from yesterday, which is still carrying over to today. This full moon goes by many names, and in this year's case, it was a supermoon. So if you had a chance to see it, even tonight, if it's clear, go out and look at it because it is so big and beautiful. It's gorgeous. A supermoon means that it is actually closer to the Earth, like physically closer, so it appears much larger than a regular moon would. That's what a supermoon is. And then if you catch it near the horizon, our perception is that it's even bigger because we can compare it to things we're used to, like trees and stuff. So when it's higher in the sky, it doesn't seem as big. Anytime a moon is close to the horizon line, it really seems much larger because we have that comparison to the trees. So that's the science part of it. It was a super full moon, And it's often called or referred to as the strawberry moon because it's during the time of the year in North America where strawberries are um, peak time for harvesting strawberries. So it's called the strawberry moon. It's called the honeymoon because also June is known for historically for times when people would get married. So there's the honeymoon. There might be more behind that one. And it's also called the rose moon. However, for today, I'm calling it the bridge moon, which is why I put a photo of a bridge. That's a painting I did in the wintertime, so that's why it's wintry, but it kind of fits right in because it's a bridge. Because this moon is the bridge between the first 6 months of the year and the last 6 months of the year. We are right at the midpoint. So next week will be the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year. And it is the tipping point. It's the time that we move from, you know, the beginning part of the year to the end of the year. So for this Wednesday workout, spiritual workout, what we're going to be doing is I'd like you to take a moment and reflect on where you were 6 months ago. So back in January, when the year started, a lot of people do resolutions then. I do mine in April, but so if you look back over the beginning part of the year, like what were your expectations? Like what were you striving for? What kind of wishes did you make at the new year that you wanted to move through uh, during this time? And we're 6 months into it. So we've done some work, we've accomplished some things, and I'd like you to take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. Allow yourself to celebrate that you have accomplished. You have done things from January till now. Um, it doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be even visible to other people. But we are all on a journey, and as long as we exist in this world, we're making progress on something. So take a moment and think about that and allow yourself to feel the energy of the accomplishment of what you did, what you've done. And then in this moment, also take a moment to, as you pause, allow the energy to be able to be reset with this full moon. So allow the full moon's energy to release anything, any regrets. I do this every full moon anyway, but this one's a special one because it is the midpoint of the year. So it's a great time to just reset. Let it be a reset to release anything that you didn't accomplish that you wanted to, and to celebrate what you did accomplish. So I'm going to give you a minute. Just drop your gaze and go in for just a little bit. I'm going to give you some silence here while you just feel the energy of what you've done and let go of those things that might be nagging at you or holding you back in a way because you're beating yourself up over it. Just let all that go. Just take a moment, take another breath, and release all of those things from the first 6 months of the year. So let's do 3 more breaths just to release. Breathe in the celebration and release any anxiety around what you didn't accomplish. 2 more breaths. Okay, so along with that, let's go along with the imagery of the strawberry. So, as I was thinking about this strawberry moon and this bridging moon, I was thinking that, when you think about a strawberry, when we think about plants in general, we think about when they bloom, they're done. You've bloomed and you're done, and there's no more, nothing to be had. And yet, the journey's not over. So, for example, a strawberry, it goes through from seed, it grows the plant, and it blooms into a flower. But that's not the end of the journey. The journey continues because the flower then turns into the fruit, and then the fruit ripens, and the fruit carries the seed for the next plant. So it's only halfway through when it hits that midway point. The blossom's only halfway through. And each part of the journey is so critical to the existence of the plant on this earth. So if it were just not have the blossom, then it would not be pollinated and the fruit would never even occur. It would literally bloom and that would be it. There would be nothing there. It would just be green. And with no pollination, you're not going to get the fruit. And without the fruit, you don't get the seeds. And without the seeds, you don't get the next version of the plant. So allow yourself, if you feel like you've blossomed, it's not too late. This is the message that I'm getting. It's not too late. If you felt like you've blossomed, then you're still at the point where you can bear fruit and the seeds for the future. So allow yourself to move through that blossom stage. And the blossom has to be there for the pollination, but then the blossom dies off because the fruit takes over. So allow that to happen. Allow yourself to bridge from the blossom of the first 6 months to the fruit of the last 6 months of this year. And go forward with it. Allow each stage to be what it is meant to be. So when you're in the blossom stage, you're not in the fruit stage. So be where you are, be aware of it, and then realize that it is the bridge to the future. So as the strawberry bears fruit, the seeds are part of that fruit, and they lay dormant until the following year when they then create a new plant. And that's the bridge. So with this bridge moon, take a moment and think about, become aware of the bridges in your life, inside and outside. Where's a bridge? Where are you bridging from one part of your life to another part of your life, or one concept to another concept, or one state of being to another state of being? Become aware of those bridging moments and be aware of how you're a bridge. How are you a bridge for others? And how are you a bridge for yourself? Bridges allow you to traverse a gap. So wherever you feel like there's a gap, build the bridge to allow you to get to the next phase of what you're doing. Bridge is the next step. And the interesting thing is, if you look at the photograph that I posted, in this particular case, it's made of stones. It's one stone at a time. It's not one giant stone. It's built in pieces. So allow yourself those stepping stones to build the bridge from here to there, from where you are to where you want to be. Allow that bridge to be created through whatever tools you have. In my case, my tools are tarot and Reiki and meditation, and I've started doing Qigong or Qigong, however you pronounce it. And all of those things are tools for me. So, and journaling, oh, definitely journaling. I journal every day. So allow those to be bridges for you. Take a look at the bridges in your life and see if they're sturdy. Are they strong? Can they actually carry you over that gap? Can they actually carry you over those areas that feel unsafe, or you're unable to get across without the bridge? And if the bridge isn't sturdy, don't be afraid to tear it down. Sometimes you have to tear down a bridge to be able to make room for a new, stronger bridge. So if you've been on a path and it feels wobbly, it feels like you're not really making it across a time that feels difficult, then don't be afraid to look around and see where you might build another bridge to get you over there. And sometimes bridges are built side by side. You can build another, newer, stronger bridge right alongside a bridge that is losing its ability to carry you. So be brave. Be brave to build those bridges. This is getting kind of long, so I'm going to wrap it up and just ask you as you go through this week as a spiritual exercise to see where your bridges are, from the physical to the spiritual, between friends, between families, between this career and the next career, between your internal knowing and your external actions. There are bridges everywhere. So I challenge you as you go through your week to see where the bridges are and to allow your plant, your strawberry plant, to bear fruit, to carry on for the next version of it, to appear for next year. So I hope you are well. Be well. This is Chris from Divine Key, spelled QI, and we'll see you next week for Workout Wednesday. Bye.